it's gonna blow them because you, and that's how you break their will. And you, I look them dead in the eye, like, yeah, motherfucker, and then they go like this, like, damn.
To break a man's will, you gotta be a demon. And you gotta have all of it. Gotta be there. You gotta have not only the smarts, the bag, the strength, and then the fit. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know what you gotta be like when you go to the rim and dunk on somebody?
The stare in the eye is killer, dog.
Imagine when you go to dunk on somebody.
And then stare.
Kevin Garnett just called LeBron James mentally weak and soft. And the big sports networks? Completely silent. That is not an accident. Because what KG said is too direct, too raw, and too specific for mainstream media to touch without catching serious heat from every direction. This is not some old rivalry being recycled for views. This is not tired drama from years ago being dragged back up for clicks. This is coming from one of the most intense, no-nonsense competitors this game has ever produced. A man who lived and breathed mental toughness every single night. He laced up his sneakers and stepped on that floor. And he drew a bold line straight at the man millions call the greatest of his era. By the time you really sit with everything KG said, it might permanently change how you see LeBron's mindset. Because he did not just throw a random shot and walk away. He broke it down, methodically, step by step, with specific examples that hit completely different from anything you have heard before. What you just watched is only the surface. The real conversation went much deeper than that, and it all started with one word that keeps coming back every single time this story gets discussed: exits. Remember that word, because it is going to follow this entire conversation from start to finish. Stay with us, because what came out of that leaked conversation is already sending shockwaves through the basketball world, and the story is about to get a lot more uncomfortable for everyone who has been protecting LeBron's legacy.
Well, LeBron James finished with 52. Look, you got a gun out, and then guess what's gonna happen? Some niggas gonna quit on him. He gonna be in the series, and niggas is already 1, 2, 3 can't go. Already, I'm watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, it's so, guess what? To not even deal with all that, okay, y'all follow me. Be ready when I pass it to you. Be ready to shoot. Like, what are we doing? Because you can't go in here, I'm mentally drained, man. I don't have Luka, I ain't got Ayon.
That was not just trash talk. That was KG laying out a case. And here is exactly how this story got out. A private conversation between Kevin Garnett and a small circle of former NBA players got recorded, clipped, and quietly passed through DMs until it exploded across basketball Twitter before any major outlet could even react. There is a reason mainstream media stayed quiet. What KG said was too unfiltered, too direct, too honest for anyone with a network deal to touch without backlash. In the leaked audio, Garnett sounds almost too calm, like someone who has been holding this in for years and finally decided the time was right. He said it clearly. LeBron James is mentally weak, has been for a long time. The talent? Nobody is arguing that. But when the moment gets too big, when the pressure hits a certain ceiling, he looks for exits. Always has. That word again, exits. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. This did not come from nowhere. People close to the situation say it traces back to a private closed-door event earlier this year. No cameras, no media, no phones out. Just former players talking honestly about legacies and what the game really demands. When someone tried to defend LeBron by pointing to championships, KG shut it down instantly. Rings do not equal mental toughness. You can win championships and still be soft. Soft is a mindset. Soft is what you do when nobody is watching. When the crowd turns on you. When your back is against the wall and you have got nobody to hide behind. Nobody to hide behind. That line hit heavy in that room, and it is the line that started everything that came next. Before we go further, if this is hitting different for you right now, hit subscribe. We cover the conversations that mainstream sports media refuses to have. Now watch this next clip carefully. Because what KG says here tells you exactly what he thinks happens to LeBron when the pressure gets real.
Me because of what he thought I would say to him or do or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And that day I walked up to his son and I was like, whatever happened with me and your dad, I was wrong. I don't ever want you to think that anything that you do, that whatever beef I have with him would affect how I cover you. I said, I'm so sorry about that. And I said, when I see your dad, I never saw him again, but
that right there is the moment everything snapped into focus. KG was not talking about championships. He was not talking about stats or rings or highlight reels. He was talking about what a man does when everything is on the line and there is nowhere left to hide. And his verdict on LeBron James could not have been clearer. He went straight at elimination games, moments where LeBron's shot attempts suddenly dropped off when the pressure hit its highest point, moments where the body language told a completely different story from the highlights, shoulders slumped, head down, eyes that looked like the game was already over before the final buzzer sounded. KG called it self-preservation. And that phrase hit the basketball world like a shockwave. Because it completely flips the narrative people have told about LeBron for 2 decades. Not a fearless warrior climbing impossible mountains, but someone carefully calculating the safest path forward, weighing the cost before committing, looking for the exit before the door even closes. The greats I played with and against, they wanted those moments. MJ did not engineer soft landings. Kobe did not. Paul Pierce in that 2008 series was locked in like a soldier. LeBron, when things get ugly, he gets comfortable. That is not hunger. That is self-preservation. And now LeBron's camp? Complete silence. No statement. No tweet. No cryptic post. Nothing at all from a man who never usually hesitates when his name gets pulled into something this significant. That silence is loud, louder than any press conference ever could be. Behind the scenes, former players started quietly picking sides. Some reached out to KG privately saying they had felt the same way for years but never had the platform or simply did not want the backlash. Others defended LeBron loudly, pointing to championships' longevity and 2 decades of sustained excellence. But here is the detail that nobody can shake. Even the ones defending LeBron did not directly say KG was wrong about mental toughness. They pointed to rings. They pointed to numbers. They talked about the records and the longevity. But nobody looked at the mental toughness question directly and said, KG is wrong. Nobody. Not one person. And in a league where loyalty runs deep and players usually protect each other publicly, that kind of silence tells its own story. Now zoom out for a second, because this is much bigger than KG versus LeBron. This is 2 completely different eras colliding over what greatness actually demands from a man. KG's era. Mental toughness was not a talking point. It was survival. Playoff pressure, media heat, hostile crowds, brutal locker rooms. You either showed up or got exposed. No image control, no narrative management, no safety net. Who you were under pressure, that was your entire identity. And the game never ever forgot it. LeBron came up in a completely different environment. Branding, narrative control, business empire. And to his credit, he mastered every single part of that system. 2 decades of greatness on paper. Nobody takes that away. But KG's claim cuts straight through all of it. Somewhere along the way, while building that empire, LeBron started protecting the brand more than feeding the raw, relentless competitor inside. I never once calculated the cost. Every single night I laced up, I was ready to lose everything on that floor. And then KG dropped the line that shook everything. LeBron James is a celebrity who plays basketball, not a basketball player who became a celebrity. That is not a small distinction. That is a complete reframe of how an entire legacy gets judged, how every moment gets viewed from this point forward. KG did not say any of this for attention. He does not need clout or headlines or validation. His legacy is already built and locked. He said it because in his mind, somebody in this game had to finally say it out loud, and now that it is out there, it is not going anywhere. Every future LeBron game is going to be watched differently. Every big moment, every fourth quarter possession, every split-second decision under pressure. All of it viewed through this new lens that KG just placed over the entire conversation. Think about what that means in practical terms. Every game LeBron plays from this point forward is going to be analyzed through this exact framework. Did he attack or did he step back? Did he take over or did he manage the situation? Did he close or did he calculate? People are already going back through old footage, old playoff series, old fourth quarters. Moments that were once praised as smart basketball are now being examined with a completely different question in mind. Was that the right play? Or was that the exit? And the more people look, the more they find moments that fit KG's description exactly. Passive stretches, deferred possessions, body language that told a story the box score never captured. None of this proves anything definitively. But once KG planted that seed, it cannot be unplanted. It changes the lens permanently. And that might be the most powerful thing about what he said. He did not need a press conference. He did not need a headline. He just needed that one private conversation to get out. And now it is everywhere. So tell me, is KG speaking facts about LeBron? Or is this completely out of line? Drop your honest answer in the comments right now. Because this debate is far from over.